WAOH is brought to you in part by Ohio's #1 trusted real estate team, The Young Team. Online at theyoungteam.com.
Today I get to talk with Judge John Oldham, and he is an Akron Municipal Court judge. And John, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for asking, and thank you for having me here.
Yes, it's wonderful to have you. Thank you for being on the show with us. And I want to talk a little bit about National Treatment Court Month. That's something that is happening in May, yes? Can you tell us about that?
So National Treatment Court Month is a great month. It's every May, and it celebrates and puts a spotlight on more than 4,000 treatment courts that we have here in the United States. And it's a month for the treatment courts to really get the word out about all the good work that's being done across our country.
And so the treatment court here in Akron, it's called Recovery Court. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, in the Akron Municipal Court, it's called the Akron Recovery Court.
Okay, and so share a little bit more. I had actually not heard of Recovery Court before I researched it before you came on the show here today. So for those of us who have not heard about it, go ahead and just share what is it and why is it important for our community? Okay,
well, first of all, that's why National Treatment Court Month is good, because you didn't know about it.
I didn't know about it.
That's the whole purpose behind this, is to get the word out. So what Akron Recovery Court is, it's a drug court. But when I started presiding over the program in 2016, we renamed it to Akron Recovery Court to give it a more optimistic, uplifting, less of a stigma name to it.
Right.
So what we do is we treat people with a substance use disorder that also have a criminal case.
Okay.
So it starts with them catching a criminal case, and then if they self-report a substance use disorder, or if we detect one or suspect one, we begin our conversations about the recovery court docket, if they wish to be on that docket. It's a very intensive docket, lots of court appearances, lots of supervision through our probation department, and long-term treatment. The great thing about Summit County, and I am reminded of this every time I talk to judges around the state at judicial conferences, Summit County has a wealth of resources for those who are seeking recovery or wish to maintain recovery. We're very fortunate here in Summit County.
Yeah, we really are. I will say, even though I hadn't heard of Recovery Court, I have been very involved in the recovery community in terms of, I have had a lot of people on the show who work within the recovery community, and I would totally agree with you. There's a wealth of resources, and because of that, I actually have people reach out to me quite frequently asking for those resources, and it's wonderful to be able to say, here are 10 places that you could reach out to and get started on your recovery journey. And so I think that's so important that you are then tying that in with the court system and allowing these people, if they're willing to and stick to their court dates and all of that, to get help.
Yes.
Because they need help. And so why is this important to you? Why is this something that you have kind of spearheaded and really wanted to do?
Well, I could talk about that for the rest of our time together here today. But really, what caused me to want to be a judge in the first place was to make our community as strong as it can be. So hopefully then my kids wish to stay here, at least consider staying here, instead of looking for somewhere else to go to. So I think everyone wants a safe, strong community. We all know everyone's been touched by the disease of addiction, either through friends or family or directly through themselves. The disease of addiction is here.
Right. And it doesn't really discriminate. There's so many different ways that people become addicted even too.
True. So there's definitely a need for it. By being an elected judge in our community, I definitely have the privilege of being able to do something about that. So it was a natural progression then to preside over our drug court, which is now the Akron Recovery Court. It gives me the hands-on ability to be the team leader. I don't do this work alone. No judge who presides over a treatment court does it alone.
Right.
That's what makes treatment courts so great. We have a team of professionals, people with lived experience, people with education, experience in all forms that help us with one common objective, and that's to get those who want recovery into recovery.
Right, which is so important. And it is an important part of helping our community to flourish. And so thank you for doing that. Thank you for the work that you guys do. And you were talking about our community, our young people. You have kids, I have kids. We want them to grow up in a community that is thriving. You were sharing with me that right now at the courthouse, you're having young people come in and they're shadowing various people at the courthouse. Share a little bit more about that.
So we have a Have Gavel Will Travel program where we reach out to the community, or they can reach out to us any time of the year for us to get the word out about what the courts do, all the different types of employment you can have in a court system, in the justice system. This time of year with graduation coming up, a lot of the local high schools have seniors that are interested in some type of law-related job, shadowing attorneys or judges around the courthouse to get that real life exposure. As brief as it is, it's still exposure that can really ignite that passion, or possibly let that student know that maybe the law is not what they thought it was. But more often than not, I see the excitement in these 17, 18-year-olds' eyes that really shows that this is a great, worthwhile experience.
Yeah, I think that allowing them to have that hands-on experience, come in and watch someone, I think that's so important to be able to make those hard decisions for their, for their future. Do they want to go into this? And so that's really important. I also wanted to touch on OVI court. I know that is something that you are also presiding over. So share a little bit about that.
So OVI court, like Akron Recovery Court, is a state certified court. It's a treatment court. I started presiding over OVI court earlier this year. Judge Walker had presided over it prior to that. It's for repeat OVI offenders.
Okay.
So 2 or 3 OVIs in a 10-year period. They're the natural population for our OVI court. It's different than Akron Recovery Court, but it's also similar.
Can you share for people who are wondering what an OVI is? I know a lot of people know. Can you share what that is?
So it's a substance use related charge of impaired driving.
Okay.
So a lot of people think it's just drunk driving. I wish that were the case.
Not always.
It's impaired driving, marijuana, methamphetamines, fentanyl. It's any sort of substance that's impairing the driver.
Right.
So impaired driving kills.
Yeah.
And that's a big distinction on these courts. Someone with a disease of addiction is not necessarily putting the community at risk. Someone driving impaired is 100% putting the community at risk and
Right.
can kill someone minding their own business.
Right.
So these are very high risk offenders in our community just based on the repeat impaired driving offenses.
Okay. And so, yes, those are 2 separate things, but you're presiding over both. And unfortunately, we have a need for both here in the area as well. What would you say to someone, as we're kind of wrapping up, what would you say to someone who is struggling with addiction right now, just kind of working through their stuff, but is maybe ready to take that first step into recovery? What would you say to them?
I'd say you're not alone. Most people that enter my recovery court docket feel like they're unique or they're different or it can't be fixed for them.
Okay.
And that's an obstacle
That's
that
not
has
true.
to be overcome. It has to be thrown out the door. That stigma has to be thrown away. It starts today.
Yeah.
And then day at a time. And if you come to a recovery court type program, that means you caught a criminal case. That means you had bad luck.
Right.
You don't need to run into the criminal justice system, though, to get recovery, especially here in Summit County. There's the ADM board, and there's all kinds of places to go. I think, everyone in our community knows where to find someone that can point them in the right direction for recovery. So it all starts with having the courage, and it is courage, to do that self-assessment and realize you have an issue and go talk to someone about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I heard from you is don't run from it, take responsibility and then take it one day at a time, and you're not alone.
Yeah, and I see success stories every week in my court.
That's amazing. Could we share one?
Okay, well, a lot of them are similar, but everyone's path is different. We've been fortunate this year to have quite a few graduates pretty similar. Let me think of a young lady who recently graduated, came into the program resisting, not really taking ownership of the problem that was very apparent, and one stumble in the program was all it took for an immediate pivot in embracing everything that we talk about in recovery court, everything we teach, recovery tools, loading up that toolbox full of recovery tools.
Yeah.
It takes time. It takes over a year oftentimes in recovery court to load that toolbox up so you know how to grab those tools and use them. So watching this young lady do that and be able to get gainful full-time employment during the program, speaking up in court, even when not asked to speak up, to help other people in court that are struggling or to share words of wisdom. And I always offer graduates in my program to come back and talk. We have a speaker series in my program, a monthly speaker series.
Love that.
And a lot of times former graduates don't want to come back into the courtroom because, they're done with the courtroom.
They're like, I've had enough.
I know she'll be back. She's already reached out to come back and be a speaker because she sees it as her calling. Because she remembers being the resistant person with the disease of addiction.
Right.
She still has the disease of addiction, but it's no longer active.
Right.
Because she's working her plan.
Yeah.
She wants to come in and sees that as her calling to help others understand that they're not alone.
How important, and what a wonderful full circle moment for her when she does get to come back and say, this is where I was. Now I'm here, and you can be too.
It'll be great. Yeah.
So important.
Treatment courts are accountability courts. There's a consequence to what led them there.
Right.
They're held accountable, but then they have all the resources available to then become productive citizens of our community.
Yes.
And I love it.
It's wonderful. Thank you for what you're doing there. I do think it's incredibly important here in our community, but in many, many communities to do something like this. So appreciate you being here and sharing with us. If people want to find out more information about Recovery Court or about the work that you're doing, where can they find that?
They can check out the Akron Municipal Court website. Allrise.org, ALLRISE.org is our great national center with great evidence-based data on why treatment courts work and how to stay up with best practices.
Great. Thank you so much. Judge John Oldham here, and we just appreciate having him on the show talking about Recovery Court and all of the work that they're doing with the Akron Municipal Court system. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching. Make sure you stay tuned. We've got more great stuff coming up next.